All right, folks, welcome to another White House press briefing with the Press Secretary, Kayleigh McEnany. Thank you so much for choosing us as your stream of choice. We're going to be switching over to the White House in just a few moments, and we're also going to turn on the hot mic and all that good stuff. So make sure you guys please share the live stream on social media, and don't forget to click the thumbs up button. There's tons of news going on today, folks. So we're going to be having full coverage of everything that is going on, both on here on the channel at Golden State Times and also on our website, goldenstatetimes.com. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. Also, don't forget to click the thumbs up button. It helps us out immensely. Once again, we're switching over to the White House in just a few moments. We'll also be giving shout outs to everyone that is sharing the live stream on social media. But if you share it on Twitter, we'll give you a shout out as a thank you for your support. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Gold State Times. All right, folks, so I'll be back on the microphone in just a few moments to give updates on when we're switching over to the White House, and also to give shout outs to everyone that is sharing the live stream on social media. So we do have some breaking news stories right now. There has been 8,000 people who have been arrested in different cities around the country due to looting, due to destruction, due to fighting the police and other illegal acts. So 8,000 people have been arrested in the last few days due to protesting. All right, folks, so we are sending right now text message notifications, but hopefully YouTube notified you. But we're trying to make sure that Patriots know that we are live, so we're going to be sending text message notifications right now. If you are already here and you receive a text message notification, if you can just forward it to somebody else, anyone that would listen, that would be amazing. It will help us out a lot. Right now, we have almost 7,000 Patriots who have signed up to our text message notification list. And it helps us out a lot because YouTube does not send notifications for live streams every single time that we stream live. And the other thing that we've been noticing within the last few days is that every single live stream that we do always gets shadow banned. Not at the beginning. At the beginning, everything is perfect. But once President Trump comes out and delivers his speech, or once the press secretary starts the press briefing, boom, it automatically gets demonetized. And when it gets demonetized, it's 100% shadow banned. It has nothing to do with monetization, but it has everything to do with shadow banning. Because when a live stream gets shadow banned, it does not come up on recommended. It does not come up on people's main page of their YouTube. And also, it does not get sent to everybody. Subscribers don't see it in their feeds. So it's not about it being monetized. It's all about it being shadow banned. So We'll see what happens with this one. But like I said, we're sending out notifications through text message right now. And if you want to sign up to our text message notification list, all you have to do is send the word Trump Live in a text message to the number 555-888, and you'll be part of that notification list. If you've done it in the past, you do not have to do it again. You only sign up once. It's 100% free from our end. It's 100% free, and it's a service that, helps us out a lot, reach patriots, to let them know that we are live. Another thing that I forgot to say is if you sign up to our notification list, you will never get spammed anything to your text messages. This service is so extremely expensive that we will not waste it. We will only send you notifications for live streams, for press briefings like this one, President Trump's speeches, when he starts doing rallies again. That is the only time that we will use it. We will never spam you any nonsense. We will never spam you anything that is not important, because this service is so extremely expensive that we cannot waste it. So we guarantee 100% that you will never get spammed anything to your text messages. All right, folks, so we want to give a big thank you to Johnny67 for becoming a new member, believing in Golden State Times, and supporting the free press. Once again, we'll be switching over to the White House in just a few moments, so make sure you guys give this live stream a thumbs up. And also don't forget to share the live stream on social media. Thank you so much for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. We'll be switching over to the White House in just a few moments. And we'll also be giving shout outs to everyone that is sharing the stream on Twitter. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Gold State Times.
This parish is
Alright folks, so we just got word that we'll be switching over to the White House in just a few moments. So let me give some shout outs here before we turn on the hot mic. I don't want to get in the way of the hot mic. So let's give some shout outs here to everyone that is sharing the stream. We're going to be starting off with Disco Dictator. Thanks so much for sharing the stream. Also Diana, thanks so much Diana for sharing the stream. Jody, thanks so much Jody for sharing the stream on social media. Let me know if you guys can hear me, if I'm too loud or if it's too low. Let me know in the chat. Thank you so much for your help and your support sharing the stream. We want to give a big thank you to Roger Harrison and also Bob Rujewitz. Thank you so much for sharing the stream. Chicken Mom, thank you so much for sharing the stream on social media. We also have Christian Patriot, My Thoughts Exactly, and Robert Stockwell sharing the stream. We also have Box of Frogs, Al, and we also have Logically Me sharing the stream on social media. Dio Toner, thank you so much for sharing the stream. And also Sparky1833, Rexer P, and Jenna Noel, thank you so much for sharing the stream. We also want to give a big thank you to Captain, Pirate GFX, and Falcon Unhinged. Thank you so much for sharing the stream on social media. The English Patriot, Terry Hargrave, and Dog Mom 3, thank you so much for sharing the stream. Medical Cannabis, Freedom, and also Rams Fan, thank you so much for sharing the stream. We have Calendula 2016, Hawaiian Punch, and Chris B is sharing the stream on social media. Alright, let me do another quick check to see if we have footage from inside the White House. And we want to give a big thank you to Short Mom. Thank you so much, Short Mom, for sharing the stream. William Hendricks, thank you so much for sharing the stream. Jim O'Reilly and Lawyer 40 Years, thank you so much for sharing the stream. We also have Pastor Walt, thank you so much, Pastor. And also Marianne, thank you so much, Marianne, for sharing the stream. Carolyn Toms, Sergio, and we also have Johnny Batcher Music, thank you so much for sharing the stream. We have Mike the Spike sharing the stream. And we also have Stand with the Beer sharing the stream. Mimi White and BJ Drinsky, thank you so much for sharing the stream on social media. Also, we have Deplorable Trump Lover and Lotus Flower sharing the stream. We have Annette Walls, BTS Awesome Forever, Proud American, and Robert Drazen, thank you so much for sharing the stream. We also have New World Sun, Catherine Denise Judson, and Patriot Gale sharing the stream. Thank you so much for your help and your support, guys. It helps us out immensely. You guys cannot believe how much this helps us by sharing the stream. Also, don't forget to click the thumbs up button. It helps us out immensely. And we have footage from inside the White House. We're going to be putting it up on your screen in just a second here. We just wanted to make sure that everything was running smoothly for you guys. And we finally have it. Here we go. So we're going to be switching over right now to the White House. The White House press briefing room. Here we go. There it is. That is live. And we're going to be checking the hot mic to make sure that it's on. And I think it's on. Yep, the hot mic is now on, folks. The hot mic is now on. Here we go. Also, don't forget, like I said, share the live stream on social media. Click the thumbs up button. Thank you so much for being the best part of Golden State Times. And we'll be giving shout outs to everyone that is sharing the stream in just a few moments.
do have her audio on channel 2, but would she ever turn to me? No.
No, you'll have it on channel 1.
I mean, the stick. Remember you asked me?
Well,
That's just the output of that.
that's because I had it open, but that won't, during the briefing, we'll never open
No,
this.
right.
This is only here protectively. They've said we're not going live afterwards.
Okay, cool.
But if they threw us a curve, that's what that is. That and this. So we won't be using this. But because Walker wasn't here yet and I wanted to put something up,
Yes, right.
we opened that. So
Got it.
got it? But this right here, on the other hand, that's channel 1, only to your camera.
So I was talking to somebody over there at Fox, Jimmy, and I said, Jimmy, how do you like the GKC box? It's a Bluetooth compared to this. And he said, he used it once, it worked great. He used it the second time, it didn't work at all, and he never used it again. How do you like it? The GKC Bluetooth compared to that?
The Bluetooth.
Yeah, they got a GKC that'll Bluetooth your cell phone.
Okay. You know, I mean, yeah, I know what you're talking about. They've had that. It's not really new. It's been out for a long time. The reason I've never gone that route is, hey, it's convenient and all that for you, but if you're in a Secret Service environment or anything, it's like, it's one more problem.
Right.
Potential problem. Whereas the copper takes more time, it's more trouble, but you know what? It works. So for that reason,
But that's not copper.
oh, this right here?
Yeah.
That's true, it's not.
But it always works, huh?
It does always work. That doesn't mean that
The other one
the
doesn't.
Bluetooth doesn't. You know, I would say, I mean, like my AirPods, it's just, you know, it works well.
Right.
But there's a lot of times where it gets confused or whatever. You know?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'll go, you know, I have it, you know, in my car and this, and I understand it needs to prioritize. But when you go to the phone and you hit AirPod, it should be no question. I've selected that. You know?
Yes. Yes.
But
It isn't, huh?
and I don't know if it's my AirPods
Right.
or something else, but no, it's not as solid as dedicated frequency.
I should buy one of those things.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm turning this on.
Okay.
Still laughing about the business
Oh,
card.
yeah.
Oh my god.
He's really selling it.
So sad.
Did
I was gonna ask him, like, is this what you show to
impress
your
your customers?
Yeah, this is what you show your people, like that you're actually in the press briefing room, like you're not. Like,
Oh, right. That's even worse. You're right. He's not.
this is super sad. It's like free.
Just a couple hairs in there. I think you cut a couple hairs in that thing. That clip.
I know, probably.
Feel okay?
I do. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, that
Yes.
Mine. The shop.
are they doing something?
I think we're good.
I can see where these masks are going to get really hot.
Yeah, I went to get lunch. It was super hot. Really hot.
Just going to have to take this thing off during when I'm outside.
All right, folks. So, yeah, the live stream has completely been shadow banned. It's happening for every single live stream that we do now, no matter what it is. Even if we put up a live stream that says test live stream and we put no description, no tags, no nothing, it's getting demonetized. Every single one of the live streams. And a lot of people, if you don't know how YouTube works like this. If a live stream gets demonetized, it means that it's now shadow banned. It will not come up on recommended. It will not come up on people's search because, one, YouTube only cares about videos that are monetized because it makes YouTube money. If a live stream is not making YouTube any money, then it gets demonetized. It gets thrown to the bottom of the barrel. Nobody gets to see it. And that's what's happening. It wasn't like this. Last month, up until the last day of last month, everything was going smoothly. But in the last couple of days, I think it was starting on Saturday, all of our live streams, and every single one of them has been getting demonetized. And it sucks because it totally screws up the ability for patriots to find our live streams. And it's sad and it sucks. And it sucks really bad, but we're going to have to see what we're going to do about this. There's really nothing we can do from our end because that's all YouTube. But we want to give a big thank you to Dog for sharing the stream on social media. And that's the only way that we come up on search is through patriots sharing the live stream. And the other thing too, and I've been complaining about this, I think it was the last time that we did a press briefing a couple days ago, that we are the only ones that are getting their live streams demonetized. Nobody else has this issue. No one. Absolutely no one. But that's, well, nobody believes me, but that's okay. But we do want to give a big thank you to Arlos Collins for sharing the stream on social media. We also want to give a big thank you to Melanie for sharing the live stream on social media. Oh, give me 1 second here. The hot mic will be back. All right, the hot mic will be back in just a few moments. And we'll go on from there. Thank you so much for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. We're going to refresh real quick. But before we do that, to give more shout outs, we would like to give a big thank you to David Ball for sharing the stream. We also want to give a big thank you to Debbie Hall for sharing the stream and to Shayla Hugh. Thank you so much to TA Stands with Trump, Marty, and Isabi. Thank you so much for sharing the stream. Also, Kelly S. Thank you so much for sharing the stream on social media. Own. Thank you so much, Own. And also, we want to give a big thank you to Mary and Bernard. Thank you so much, Bernard. Also, Sam B. Thank you so much, Sam. And Gail Gray, thank you so much for your help and your support. We also want to give a big thank you to Christine C., Barry, and Nationalist Fence Post for sharing the stream. Thank you so much to Mark Spear. And we also want to give a big thank you to Tom Fitton, Seamus, and we also have Carmen Polder. Thank you so much, Carmen Polder, Mug Hug Cozy, Kathy Dalton Little, and Kay Anderson. Kay Anderson, thank you so much for your help and your support, Kay. We also want to give a big thank you. We want to give a big thank you to David. Thank you so much, David, for your help and your support through Super Chat. Thank you so much once again, David Posadas. All right, folks, I'm going to be checking on the hot mic. All right, so I'm going to be checking on the hot mic, so just give me a minute. All right, folks, so the hot mic is back on. And it looks like the room is getting full, too, so it's good.
Guy's idea? It's his idea, wasn't it? They're stealing your idea.
No, that's just the formation of it. I didn't cut it. Oh, good, yours? Oh. Based on the chart that I did not learn at all.
Dana, in an interview on Fox Radio this morning, President Trump said that he didn't know anything about the plan to push protesters back from Lafayette Square on Monday night, even though you could hear those loud booms while President Trump was speaking in the Rose Garden. So in saying that, President Trump is essentially placing responsibility for that decision on the Attorney General, because we now know that it was Bill Barr who ordered the expansion of that perimeter.
Oh my God.
The Defense Secretary Mark Esper, who also walked with President Trump to the church, he says that he didn't know anything about the plan to push back protesters either. So the question remains, if the president did not know, then who did, other than the Attorney General? So expect a lot of questions about that at the briefing today, and also about some things that Defense Secretary Mark Esper said during a news conference at the Pentagon earlier today.
All right, folks, so we do have some real news, unlike the fake crap that lady is spewing. The bobblehead in front of you. So Snap, which is the parent company of Snapchat, has now put out a press release saying that they will no longer allow President Trump's account to be promoted or to be discovered in their media platform. So in other words, they are doing exactly what YouTube is doing to us, which is shadow banning. They're going to be doing that to President Trump on Snapchat. Now, all other platforms... Well, sorry about that. That's the hot mic sometimes goes crazy. So now this is the very first one that is going to be doing this. The plan for these globalists from now on is to deplatform President Trump. They're not going to kick him off of Twitter, on Facebook, on Gab. I mean, on all of those other ones, whatever. They're not going to kick him off. They're not going to ban him. What they're going to do is they're going to make it extremely, extremely difficult for you to see his tweets, for you to see his posts, for you to see his videos and other things that President Trump puts up on his social media accounts. But Snapchat is the one that has come out the worst out of all of them. Twitter is bad, putting, stuff on President Trump's tweets or fact-checking President Trump in real time, stuff like that. That is really bad. But Snapchat is going to be the worst out of all of them, because Snapchat literally just said that they are going to no longer promote or allow President Trump's content to be found on their platform. This is really, really bad, folks. This is extremely bad. And we feel you. We feel you, President Trump, especially in a situation where we're in, where we are the only ones that are getting our live streams demonetized. We're the only ones. Even the failures at RSBN do not get their live streams demonetized. They don't get their live streams censored, shadow banned. They have a free reign to do whatever they want. So why are we being signaled, why are we the only ones that are being affected by this? We have no idea. But we'll try to get through it, just like President Trump tries to get through this stuff every single day. But I think what Snapchat is doing is just absolutely despicable. All right, folks. So another news that is coming out right now is that the NBA is planning to reopen once again starting July 22nd. Or I'm sorry, starting July. Over 22 teams are going to be playing in Orlando. So Florida is going to get an immense amount of business going to the state, which is very good. And the great state of Florida is going to flourish like any other state. It's going to be pretty much the hub for everything within the next coming months when it comes to entertainment. There's a lot of other parts of entertainment like music that are also saying that they're going to head out to Florida to do, music videos, to do concerts, to do festivals and stuff like that. They're going to be heading over to Florida to do all of those things. So a huge influx of business is going to start coming into Florida, starting off with the NBA.
I just purchased those little clips for here that I've been going to use.
From the motor drive from the Maxwell Silver Hammer set.
All right, folks. So we'd like to give a big thank you to Shane. Thank you so much, Shane, for sharing the live stream on social media. Also, World Be Free. Thank you so much for sharing the stream on social media. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Gold State Times if you haven't yet. Thank you so much to Craig for sharing the stream. Idaho Garden Girl, thank you so much for sharing the stream. All Off the GST Mascot, thank you so much for sharing the stream. We also want to give a big thank you to Paula, Q454, Debbie926, JQ Public, and I think that's it for now. All right, so we'll also be giving shout outs to everyone that follows us on Twitter for the first time. And we're going to be starting off with M. Thank you so much, M, for sharing the stream. For following us on Twitter. Mr. Buns, thank you so much for following us on Twitter. And Alberto, thank you so much for following us on Twitter. We want to give a big thank you to Snatcher Claus. Thank you so much for your support through Super Chat. Those Super Chats is what helps us live stream these events. These live streams are brought to you by not only our members, but also everyone that supports us through Super Chat. So thank you so much, Snatcher Claus, for your support in helping us live stream these events to everyone around the country and around the world.
2-minute warning before the briefing begins.
All right, folks, 2-minute warning. And we also want to give a big thank you to Ray. Thank you so much, Ray, for helping us through Super Chat. You are amazing. And also, thank you so much to Worm Party. Thank you so much for your help and your support through Super Chat. And to LD Murray, thank you so much for your help and your support through Super Chat. 2-minute warnings, folks. 2-minute warnings. Everyone that helps us through Super Chat, thank you so much for your help and your support. You are the reason why we can live stream these events here on YouTube. So thank you so much for helping us bring this content not only to everyone around the country, but also everyone around the world. And also thank you so much to our members for your continued support, helping us stay live here on YouTube.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to start with a few housekeeping announcements. First of all, the President's annual physical results are ready for release. The full memo will be released shortly, but in summary, the President remains healthy. Also, I'd like to congratulate the winners of last night's primary elections. President Trump has now endorsed candidates and has a 64-0 record in congressional, special, and primary election races since the midterms, demonstrating the strength of and support for the president's agenda across the country, as evidenced in the 64 consecutive congressional, special, and primary elections over the past 13 months. So next, I want to transition to talking about some of the things going on around the country. The First Amendment does not give anyone the right to riot. The First Amendment does not give anyone the right to loot. The First Amendment doesn't give anyone the right to burn down buildings. The First Amendment does not give anyone the right to deface property. And it does not give anyone the right to assault private citizens and to assault police officers. The First Amendment, however, does give you the right to peaceably assemble. And the greatest example that we have seen of peaceful protest, an absolute embodiment of the First Amendment, is the March on Washington. On August 28, 1963, 250,000 Americans gathered at the Lincoln Memorial and peacefully made a powerful march and a powerful point that all Americans should be treated equally, that racial discrimination was unacceptable, abhorrent, and that it needed to be rectified. And in the famous I Have a Dream speech by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, he said this: "We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force." And soul force is exactly what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. met the nation with when he said this: "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Important words, important actions from an American hero who contributed to making this nation the greatest on earth. With that in mind, we must remember to recognize the lives lost, the passing of George Floyd, who was killed unjustly in a horrific video that we all have seen. And we must also remember the passing of police captain David Dorn yesterday, who was shot and killed by looters in St. Louis in an absolute tragedy. A retired officer, 77 years old, whose wife was also a police officer herself. Dorn was a hero and an unfortunate casualty in the riots we have seen. Our hearts are with his family. We are all Americans. We must come together. We must unify, and we must have law and order. And with that, I'll take questions. Yes, we do.
I have a couple questions. First on Secretary Esper. CBS News has learned that his remarks this morning were not received well here inside the White House. Had the Secretary ever expressed his views about active duty forces to President Trump before this morning in private? And does the President still have confidence in Secretary Esper?
So not that I'm aware of in terms of expressing his opinion, and I wouldn't get into the private conversations that went on here in the White House. And with regard to whether the President has confidence, I would say if he loses confidence in Secretary Esper, I'm sure you all will be the first to know.
But as of right now, he still does?
As of right now, Secretary Esper is still Secretary Esper, and should the President lose faith, we will all learn about that in the future.
Thank you. And on policing, Vice President Joe Biden has vowed to set up a police oversight board if he is elected. Is President Trump considering anything comparable or any other specific legislative and policy reforms to address racial disparities in policing?
So there have been various things discussed here in the White House. I don't want to get ahead of the President and as to what he ultimately determines. The President believes that most police officers in this country are good, hardworking people, and he notes that, but he also notes some of the injustices we've seen and the need to make sure that the appropriate use of force is used and that our officers are trained in that capacity.
So he is considering some sort of federal oversight?
There's been discussion of various proposals that we could look at, but no announcements on that front just yet. Jim.
Kayleigh, you mentioned Dr. King. He likely would not have approved of what took place Monday evening across from the White House, as you probably know. If the White House president and his team had to do it all over again, would you have gassed and pummeled protesters to clear the park so the president could have a photo op?
So let me first address no tear gas was used and no rubber bullets were used. So again, no tear gas was used, no rubber bullets were used.
Why are you making that distinction? Chemical agents were used.
Let me back up
and Episcopal priest who said she was gassed. Others say they were tear gassed in that area.
Well, no one was tear gassed. Let me make that clear. That's been confirmed by DOD and by Park Services as well. So let me go back and address what happened because there's been a lot of misreporting. First, I would note that these protests that were going on, in the morning, AG Barr had determined that we needed to expand the perimeter by 1 block on each side. He was surprised, AG Barr, when he arrived at the White House to see that that perimeter had not been moved. So he said that we needed to get going with moving that perimeter. He told the officers that out there. That was late afternoon. So that decision was made in the morning, first of all. The protesters were told 3 times over loudspeaker that they needed to move. And what happened was it grew increasingly unruly. There were projectiles being thrown at officers. Frozen water bottles were being thrown at officers. Various other projectiles. And the officers had no other choice than in that moment to act and make sure that they were safe and that the perimeter was pushed back, because as we all know, a church was burning in that very area the night before. So the appropriate action was taken. It was burning the night before, which enforced the decision to move the perimeter on each side by a block, so that church would no longer be in harm's way by the rioters. But it's absolutely uncalled for to throw bricks, absolutely uncalled for to throw water bottles that are frozen at police officers.
Don't you agree, Kayleigh, that the vast majority of those protesters were doing so peacefully, and that many of them did not hear those warnings and were simply just pushed out of the way, just forced out, pummeled out of the way by their fellow Americans, police officers? You sent in members of the military to deal with this. I mean, what do you say to Americans who look at what happened on Monday and find that to be appalling?
Well, let me note the National Guard was utilized across Washington, D.C. The military was not. There is a distinction, and I would say that it is uncalled for to throw bricks at officers, uncalled for to throw frozen water bottles at officers. And they also had received intelligence that there were calls for violence against police officers, and they found caches of glass bottles, baseball bats, and metal poles hidden along the streets. When an officer is at risk, they have the right to defend themselves. They did so peaceably. There were no fatalities, no severe injuries.
You do it again.
To protect the lives of officers, they have a right to defend and to protect themselves.
And White House,
Next question. I think Sarah used to always joke about 2-question Tuesday. I think sometimes I get 4 or 5-question Wednesday.
I just want to make sure that people who have a problem with what they saw Monday have a chance to have that addressed. And, I mean, what do you say to Americans who are just outraged by what they saw? And for the president to go and have a photo op in front of a church.
What I would say is this: officers have a right to defend themselves. And I've watched a lot of your coverage. I've watched a lot of the nation's coverage, and let's go through some of the things that happen when officers don't defend and protect themselves. In St. Louis, 4 police officers were shot. In Las Vegas, an officer was shot in the head and is on life support. In New York, a cop was beat up by people. In Providence, 4 to 5 police officers and state troopers were injured. And in Ashbury Park, New Jersey, a police officer was injured. Police officers are out on the front lines. They're defending and protecting you as you come into this building each and every day, Jim. We owe them honor, we owe them respect, and when they are under attack, they have the ability to defend themselves. Zeke.
First on Secretary Esper's comments, is the president presently considering invoking the Insurrection Act, or is that completely off the table at this point?
So it's a very good question. The president has the sole authority to invoke the Insurrection Act. It is definitely a tool within his power. This president has one singular aim, and it is protecting America's streets. We cannot have burning churches. We cannot have police officers who are shot. We cannot have businesses that are looted and destroyed. The Insurrection Act is a tool available. The president has the sole authority, and if needed, he will use it. But at this time, he's relying on surging the streets with National Guard. It's worked to great effect here in D.C. and in Minnesota as well.
And Kayleigh, back to that incident on Monday, are you saying that all the officers who were at that protest, clearing that largely peaceful protest, were acting appropriately? There were well-documented incidents of, in one case, one member of law enforcement bashing a camera of an Australian journalist. This isn't about the journalists. This is about the other peaceful protesters there as well. Did every officer in that protest, was that protest cleared in a way that the White House believes was entirely appropriate? So that should be the model for the rest of the country.
I think U.S. Park Services, when having bricks thrown at them and frozen water bottles, had the right to act. They acted with the appropriate level of force to protect themselves and to protect the average citizenry and to protect the peaceful protesters who were among them as well. Kristen.
They were protecting the peaceful protesters by firing various chemical agents and walking through them with batons.
Well, it wasn't tear gas, I would note, and And what they used was a way to target those who were being violent. They used the minimal force that they could to ensure that that situation was safe, to ensure St. John's Church would not burn a second night in a row, and to ensure that no officers were injured in the manner that I listed off, that several officers have been injured and shot at in the course of these riots. Kristen.
Thank you, Kayleigh. I have a question about the decision-making process before going to the church on Monday night. The president said on Fox Radio this morning that he never told anyone to push the protesters out. The defense secretary, he said something similar. So who at the White House did know, or was this a unilateral decision by the Attorney General?
The Attorney General decided that morning to expand the perimeter, and that was a decision made long before the church discussion was ever under consideration. When the president gives an order, people act. It's not as if he's walked through each and every detail of how a plan goes about. He says, I want to go to the church. He goes to the church, and everyone executes the plan in the order that the president puts into place. So the president is absolutely right in what he said.
So was the plan still for President Trump to walk out there, even if the protesters were still there?
You know, I'm not aware of the determinations that Secret Service had as they arranged for the president to walk out there, but I would just note again that the decision to expand the perimeter was a decision made in the morning by Attorney General Barr.
Okay, and just one question about the coronavirus, because we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Dr. Fauci, he said in an interview on Monday that his contact with President Trump had dramatically decreased, and so had the frequency of the coronavirus task force meetings. Is that accurate, and if so, why?
There was a coronavirus task force briefing just yesterday. We are constantly, as an administration, monitoring the coronavirus to protect the safety and well-being of the American people. Right now, we all saw that church burn. We all saw some of the violence in the streets, and the president has had several meeting after meeting with AG Barr, Secretary Esper, General Milley, to make sure that our streets are peaceful and under control, while also monitoring the coronavirus and what we're seeing develop there. Mario.
Thanks, Kayleigh. I'm quite confused. I mean, if the protests were peaceful on Monday, why did you all clear the area, and whose decision was to clear it later in the day? If Attorney General Barr wanted it cleared earlier in the day, why did it take so long for it to be cleared?
Yeah, you know, he ordered it to be cleared Monday morning. It didn't happen when he arrived, so he immediately instructed the officers to ensure that it was moved back a block. As we all saw Sunday night, it was not a peaceful protest. It was, in fact, a riot with a church burning in Washington, D.C. The president made sure that Washington, D.C. was secure Monday night, and part of that involved moving the perimeter back to ensure that St. John's Church was protected.
But that's quite a gap between the morning and then the evening when you all walked over there. Why was there such a gap?
Look, again, that's a question for AG Barr, who made the order. It's a question for the officers who were on the ground at the time, why that wasn't deployed right away. But when AG Barr came to the White House, I think it was early afternoon, he noticed that it hadn't been cleared, gave the order for it to be cleared, and that action took place.
Why did the president feel it was important to go walk over there through the park into the church?
It was extremely important. Look, the president wanted to send a very powerful message that we will not be overcome by looting, by rioting, by burning. This is not what defines America. And going and standing by St. John's Church was a very important moment. And I would note that through all of time, we've seen presidents and leaders across the world who have had leadership moments and very powerful symbols that were important for a nation to see at any given time to show a message of resilience and determination. Like Churchill, we saw him inspecting the bombing damage. It sent a powerful message of leadership to the British people. And George W. Bush throwing out the ceremonial first pitch after 9/11, and Jimmy Carter putting on a sweater to encourage energy savings, and George H.W. Bush signing the Americans with Disabilities Act, flanked by 2 disabled Americans. And for this president, it was powerful and important to send a message that the rioters, the looters, the anarchists, they will not prevail, that burning churches are not what America's about. And that moment, holding the Bible up, is something that has been widely hailed by Franklin Graham and others, and it was a very important symbol for the American people to see that we will get through this through unity and through faith.
Separately, the president, you said he had the results of his physical. We know that he did part of the physical late last year, I think it was. When did he have the rest of it done?
I'm not aware of an exact date. I will ask Dr. Connolly for you on that, but I know it was fairly recently. Yes. I will go to Brett.
Thanks, Kayleigh. The White House has spent a lot of time talking about how the protests have taken place and how people are protesting or shouldn't be protesting. But what is the White House doing to address the underlying causes that have led to these protests?
Look, the president's done a lot. The president expedited the review, the FBI review of the George Floyd case. He swiftly ensured there was a civil rights investigation into George Floyd's death. Ahmaud Arbery, there's another investigation there on the part of DOJ. He's recognized what an injustice this was innumerable times, including in his national remarks that he gave on Saturday. So this president has done everything in his power to send a powerful message that these injustices will not be tolerated.
But does the White House or the president, have they reached out to any of these protesters to try and start a dialogue about specific reforms they'd like to see? Or does the president plan to do that moving forward?
Look, the president has looked at some various, not legislative necessarily, but tools that we could use to ensure that law enforcement uses the appropriate level of force. No discussions or announcements there on that front. But I will say that we're taking a hard look at this, but that the president recognizes that our police officers are valiant heroes. The vast majority are good, hardworking people who love this country and who love the American citizenry that they protect.
There hasn't been any outreach to the
Thanks, Kayleigh. Former Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein testified today on the Hill that he didn't read the FISA applications, and he didn't even prepare the scope memo that started the Mueller probe. Given that Rosenstein appears to be deeply involved in Crossfire Hurricane and that he actually picked FBI Director Christopher Wray, isn't it time that the Trump administration appoints someone else other than Wray for FBI Director?
Look, I have no announcements on that front, but what I will say with regard to the Rosenstein testimony is he said there was no there, and he now agrees with that text by Peter Strzok, who, obviously had no information of Russian collusion, but nevertheless strung us through this investigation. And you have Rosenstein, who, again, it's quite befuddling, said he wouldn't have signed off on the Carter Page FISA warrant that has his name on it. His name's signed on a FISA warrant to spy on the Trump campaign, that he wouldn't have signed off on that. Not only that, he wasn't sure that he read every page of it. It's a pretty grave thing to spy on an American citizen, to violate their Fourth Amendment rights, to not have a basis to do so, and to rely on a Russian dossier full of lies as the justification. So it's really astonishing to hear from him that he's not sure he read every page of that warrant, but I suppose it's encouraging to hear with his 2020 hindsight that he wouldn't have signed off on it, though I'm sure that's of no comfort to Carter Page.
Well, the president has expressed his disappointment in Wray in the past. So where does he stand now? Does he have confidence in Wray today?
At this moment, the president, as the FBI director, much like the Secretary of Defense is the FBI director, is the Secretary of Defense. If the president decides he no longer has confidence, you guys will be the first to know.
And then I have one more on New York, if it's okay.
Sure.
So yesterday, New York Governor Cuomo made a pretty big statement saying that he might relieve Mayor de Blasio, of his duties. Has there been any talk with Governor Cuomo about sending in the National Guard troops to New York, or is there any plan right now to send National Guard to New York?
The president will do whatever is necessary to protect America's streets. He has made that clear, and he has several tools. That is one of them, sending in the National Guard. He does have the ability to federalize the National Guard should he choose to do that. But I would note, and I'm very glad you brought up New York, the very clear-cut cases of D.C. and New York. D.C. was in chaos on Sunday night when you saw the burning of the church, when Mayor Bowser did not set the curfew, as she had it at 11 p.m. The president said this is unacceptable. He's always preferred devolving to the states. They have the police power. It's their responsibility to protect the streets. But when the president saw that on Sunday night, he took action immediately. He surged the National Guard, encouraged states to accept their National Guard. He went on and on with several various actions. He gave a very powerful speech saying, if you don't act, I will. He noted that the military would be on hand should it be necessary. His bold action, his swift action, made D.C. a much different story Monday night. And contrasting the images of D.C. on Monday night and New York on Monday night, where there was rampant looting, where we saw Macy's department store looted, Coach store looted, violence in the streets. New York acted in a way that was inappropriate. They didn't deploy the National Guard. They set an 11 p.m. curfew, even after they saw the disastrous results of Mayor Bowser's 11 p.m. curfew. And the president said, I will call Antifa a domestic terrorist group. What was New York doing? New York was arresting people on burglary charges and then releasing 500 individuals after they had arrested them. So the weak need policies of New York stand in stark contrast to the law and order policies of this president that has succeeded in securing this city, as we've seen the last 2 nights. Next, we'll go to Lachlan.
Thank you, Kayleigh. Putting aside the conduct of individual officers, does the president believe that there's a systemic bias in American law enforcement against African Americans?
The president believes that there are injustices, and he has pointed them out, and he has not hesitated in pointing out injustices, going back to his time as a primary candidate when he called Sandra Bland and the use of force against her in the video that we all saw terrible. He did not hesitate when he saw the video of George Floyd. He was really upset by that video, as I noted. We've got the civil rights investigation into Ahmaud Arbery. He points out injustices, but he also notes this, that our police officers are good people. I've seen them out there on the streets protecting people. I've played the videos for you of the police embracing protesters, standing with the protesters. They're good, hardworking people. They protect our streets. That is what law enforcement is about. But at the same time, the president will note and he will call out injustices. And this is a president who's not hesitated in doing that when the time was right.
Individual actions, but does he believe that the problem is systemic and endemic to American law enforcement?
The president believes there are some examples of injustices. He calls them out. This is a president who, when Democrats for so many years talked about criminal justice reform and the disparities, the racial disparities in sentencing, President Obama didn't do that. Guess who fixed that? It was President Trump with the First Step Act, who engaged in sentencing reform and who really rectified some of the disparities we saw there. So, I think Democrats, others, Republicans should hail this president for calling out injustices when he sees them, either in a case-by-case basis or in the form of the First Step Act, where he noted the disparity in sentencing reforms. Josh.
There's been a number of explanations on the clearing the park. One, that there was an attempt to enforce curfew. Another, that there was violent protesters from the park police. DOJ saying that it was previously going to be done anyway. Can you explain to us what the reason from the White House's perspective was for clearing the park? Why the White House wanted it done?
So it wasn't the White House. As I said, it was A.G. Barr who expanded it was A.G. Barr who said the perimeter needed to be expanded 1 block each way because we were not going to see the church burn another night. I've already gone through in meticulous detail with my friend Jem here how it came about that perimeter was eventually moved, and I'm not going to repeat myself again.
So that would have been done anyway, even if it would not have been violent protesters, that would have happened?
No, there were 3 announcements. So if the protesters had remained peaceful and had moved the perimeter as they were instructed to do, not 1, not 2, but 3 times via loudspeaker, it would have looked different. But when bricks are thrown, rest assured, officers will protect themselves. Chanel.
The question, you said, the president said today that he went down to the basement to inspect it over the weekend. What was the point of the inspection? What was he looking for?
Look, I won't go further than what the president has said because those are security matters, and I won't engage on that kind of discussion. Yes, Chanel.
Kayleigh, so going back to Rosenstein, what is the president's response to the fact that neither Rosenstein nor Christopher Wray seem willing to take responsibility for the illegal wiretapping that took place on the Trump campaign? I also have a question on the Insurrection Act.
Yeah, I would say, look, the president is dismayed. This happened to the president's campaign. A Republican campaign was spied on by a Democratic presidency, a Democratic administration, based on a dossier paid for by his opponent, Hillary Clinton, and the DNC. This is absolutely extraordinary. It is the biggest political scandal that we've seen, and the lack of journalistic curiosity on this front is appalling when you have multiple instances of people who were saying one thing under oath from the Obama administration and saying another thing in public, that they had direct evidence of Russian collusion. I mean, that's extraordinary. Adam Schiff, I've got direct evidence, when in fact we know there was none. In the Mueller report, after spending millions of taxpayer dollars, totally and completely exonerated President Trump. It was a travesty, and we hope to get to the bottom of this because it should never be done again in American politics to any president of either political party.
Insurrection Act, Secretary Esper this morning said that he opposes it. The last time it was used was 1992. How close is the White House to actually using the Insurrection Act? Is that a last resort measure, or is this a real possibility at this moment?
Well, if you've noticed, the president has been going down a line of progression. And the first point was allow governors to do their job, allow mayors like Bill de Blasio to do their job. The police power, which is embedded in the 10th Amendment of this Constitution, that's how this country is supposed to work. Governor Cuomo is supposed to ensure that his state is protected. Mayor de Blasio is supposed to ensure that New York City is protected. They failed at their job. There was looting all across New York City. There were fires burning here in D.C. when Mayor Bowser was in control. So this president on Monday took definitive action with that speech saying, if necessary, the military is here. You must surge the National Guard. He took action and he shored up and made sure that D.C. remained peaceful. So this president has gone and said the National Guard is the next step. That seemed to be working here in New York, in D.C. We'll see if it continues to work. But rest assured, he has the sole authority to invoke the Insurrection Act, and if necessary, he will do so to protect American citizens. One thing I really want to note, and I think it's so important to go back to this because I haven't seen a ton of coverage of it other than in a few places. And I started the briefing with this, and it's important. I just want to circle back and note Captain David Dorn, who lost his life in St. Louis, and he was killed by a looter. He served 38 years in the St. Louis Police Department. His wife, Ann, is a sergeant with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. He is a hero. I also want to note, because there have been 45 officers lost in the line of duty this year, and my heart breaks for them. And as a new mom myself, my heart particularly breaks for two women in particular who I was reading about their stories today. Officer Breanne Leath of the Indianapolis Police Department. On April 9th, 2020, she was shot and killed. She survived by her 3-year-old son, her sister, and her parents. She was a National Guard veteran, and my heart breaks for the family of Officer Leath. And Officer Tiffany Victoria Enriquez of the Honolulu Police Department on January 19th, 2020. Officer Enriquez was shot and killed as well, leaving 3 daughters, 1 grandson, and she was a U.S. Air Force Reserve veteran. These are our heroes. Thank you so much to our officers who are protecting our streets. Many have been shot, some have been killed. It's a travesty, and let us stand with law enforcement and recognize the huge contribution that they have made to our society and continue to do so each and every day. Thank you so much, guys.
Who's command of the forces in Washington right now?
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice here at Golden State Times. If you're new to the channel, we encourage you to subscribe and click that notification bell as we cover everything that has to do with the White House, with the president, and also politics. So if you want to stay up to date on everything, make sure you subscribe and you click that bell. And you also follow us on Twitter at Gold State Times. Check out our website, goldenstatetimes.com. We publish the president's schedule on a daily basis, so make sure you go and check it out and bookmark our website, goldenstatetimes.com. All right, folks, so if you guys missed the if you guys missed the press secretary's Q&A with reporters, we're going to be uploading it onto the channel right now. So check back in just a few moments as that gets uploaded onto the channel. Like I said, if you are new to the channel, we encourage you to subscribe and click that notification bell. And hopefully YouTube notifies you when we go live for a future live stream. But if you want to get notified 100% of the time when we go live, all you have to do is send us a text message with the word Trump Live to the number 555-888. Once again, if you want to be part of our live stream notification list, if you want to sign up to it, all you have to do is send us a text message with the word Trump Live to the number 555-888. All right, folks, thank you so much once again for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. If you're new to the channel, we encourage you to subscribe and click that notification bell. If you want to get notified by Golden State Times instead of YouTube when we go live for a future live stream, all you have to do is send us a text message with the word Trump Live to the number 555-888, and we will add you to that list. That way you get notified every single time that we go live instead of 10% of the time with YouTube sending you notifications. We also like to give a big thank you to our moderators for keeping the chat clean and enjoyable for everyone. You guys do an amazing job. Thank you so much once again, moderators, for your help and your support. We also want to give a big thank you to everyone that helped us out through Super Chat and also through membership. Thank you so much for your help and your support, guys. You help us live stream these events to everyone around the country and around the world. All right, folks, so the video has been uploaded onto the channel, so we encourage you guys to go and check it out. If you'd like to help out Golden State Times, just click on the link that I am going to be putting in the chat in just a few moments. We have already uploaded the president's, I'm sorry, I keep saying the president's, Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany's the Q&A with reporters. We're putting it up on the chat right now.